Welcome to Beyond Compare Wrestling.
Thank you for joining us here tonight on another episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling, and we are coming out of the gate hot with a huge tag team match. The Brotherhood taking on Kensho and Tafik, and Cameron Lewis here spinning him up and going for that armbar real quick. Going for the quick finish on this one. Kensho rolls him out. As I mentioned, huge tag team match to kick off action here tonight. These two teams are the third and fourth ranked in the BCW tag team division, only behind the Game Changers, who are the number one contenders, and the Exiled, who are the BCW World Tag Team Champions. In recent months, both these teams have had opportunities to challenge for the BCW World Tag Team titles and come up short. So both these teams want a rematch because... Oh, what a big back body drop there. Both these teams want a rematch because both those times that they faced the Exiled for the tag titles, it was a real close encounter. I think with another shot, these teams could come out with the victory, but they got to climb those rankings. They got to prove their dominance here tonight. They got to get into that third spot in the rankings to be in the catbird seat for another BCW World Tag Team title opportunity. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Lots of action here. We still have that big announcement from Dirty Dawn coming up. We're kicking it off with a big tag team match here to open the show, and we got the two big boys of the team, Isaac Taylor and Tafik, in the ring here. Tafik doing a little bit of posing there, but he gets cut off by Isaac Taylor, and a huge spine buster. You do not want to be caught sleeping against Isaac Taylor. That spinebuster was brutal. Isaac Taylor has a lot of power. Cameron Lewis trying to cut off Tafik before he can make that tag. And gets a big, huge back elbow for his trouble. Tafik does make the tag, so it was a moot point for Cameron Lewis, but a huge jumping Rana. Cameron Lewis, we saw during that Christmas episode that he had an absolutely amazing showcase, career-defining performance. Oh, and that's a career-defining move right there, going for that double stomp to the chest. Cameron Lewis ended 2023 with a huge career-defining performance, and ever since then he has been looking amazing. He is really finding his stride as of late. And just like that, cutting Tafik off, going for that big running Rana again. And a shot to the back right there. And now he's going after Kensho on the apron. Knocking down Kensho. This could be his opportunity to go for something big. He's hyping himself up. What's he got planned? And Tafik with a big running neck breaker. He's got nothing. And as I mentioned, both these teams have faced the Exiled for the BCW World Tag Team titles. When Kensho and Tafik did that earlier this year, it was a pick'em. It was a real close match, but it was the Exiled that came out on top. And then during Christmas and subsequently at the Random Draw pay-per-view, it was the Brotherhood getting a tag title shot. But there's a big asterisk on those two encounters between the Brotherhood and the Exiled. In the first one, Isaac Taylor was taken out on the outside of the ring by Ultimo Nightmare. So during that first match, it was a handicap match, basically, for most of it. It was the Exiled taking on Cameron Lewis in that aforementioned career-defining performance. There were times in that handicap match I thought Cameron Lewis was going to win the World Tag Team titles by himself. It did not happen. Oh, and speaking of something happening, Tafik picking up Isaac Taylor for a burning hammer from the top. That could be it. Rolls him over. He's in a good position. Oh, but Cameron Lewis so fast. Cameron Lewis knew that was going to be it, so he had to get in there like a hiccup. Wow. Blink and you might miss something that Cameron Lewis does because he is so fast. Every time Cameron Lewis is in... Oh, and here we go though with the blackout. Isaac Taylor's finishing maneuver, turns the tide, goes for the pin right in the middle of the ring, and Kensho breaks it up. Isaac Taylor and Tafik trading finishers here in the ring. Burning hammer and that choke bomb. Isaac Taylor tried to make the tag. I think he wants the tag out. And look at this, just showing his strength. Tafik about 6'6", over 300. Isaac Taylor's about 6'3", right about that 300 mark. So these are two big, huge, meaty men slapping meat. They're the two biggest men on their respective teams. And they can throw around that strength. They have a lot of power, as evidenced by this move right here and all the other moves that they've done in this match. And I think for the game plans of both these teams, they want to go power and power, and they want to go speed and speed. Isaac Taylor really showing it off to the crowd. Perhaps a little bit too much showboating, and he gets caught here with that leaping tombstone signature maneuver from Kensho. Crosses the arms, goes for the pin. But again, Cameron Lewis, that is where Cameron Lewis pays dividends for his team of the Brotherhood. He is so fast. He is that perfect man to have on the apron to come in there. Oh, he can't make it. Kensho cuts him off and hits him with that big knee. Isaac Taylor's looking really loopy, but he had the wherewithal to block that one and hit him with his own finisher. And look at this ring positioning perfectly in his own corner too. Hitting his finisher of the blackout, that beautiful choke bomb in the absolute most picture perfect part of the ring. And now we got Cameron Lewis going here for the code red. Is he going to go follow it up with that frog splash? Oh no, he's going for something else here. Oh, a big moonsault. Picture perfect, turning slightly in the air to hit him flush. And Tafik breaks up that one. As I was mentioning, Cameron Lewis, he is the perfect person to have on the apron to break up the pinfall attempts because he is so fast. I mentioned it every time he's in the ring. He is one of the fastest and most agile on the roster. But he can get it done in the ring too. But can he get it done after taking a big leaping tombstone? Again, crosses the arms. Beautiful camera angle. Is Isaac Taylor going to come in and break it up too? Isaac Taylor at the last second. I think he knew Cameron Lewis had it, but that is taking a risk when you are facing a super credible tag team like Kensho and Tafik. And I think on my unofficial scorecard, Kensho and Tafik are coming out a little bit ahead now, especially after this beautiful double team maneuver. Tafik goes right into the cover, but Isaac Taylor breaks it up. It's high stakes here for this opening contest. Both these teams want to climb the ladder again. They want another shot at the tag titles. The Brotherhood, they had that handicap match for their first attempt at the tag titles. And then at the random draw pay-per-view, the randomizer chose a tables match for that contest. And it was the Exiled putting both members of the Brotherhood through tables. And when it came to Isaac Taylor, they put him through a flaming table, and he still is injured from that. And speaking of getting injured, beautiful running knee to the face, too. Got him. Kensho and Tafik out of nowhere. Kensho makes the tag, comes in with that Kaiju Killer knee strike. And that will put the toughest, most robust men to bed. Kensho and Tafik pick up a huge win against the Brotherhood. They move up the rankings into the third position, and they look beautiful here tonight. Congratulations to them. What a win to kick off BCW action. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go back live, this happened moments ago during the intro. It was a little bit of a fallout here between Cameron Lewis and Isaac Taylor. Post-match, Cameron Lewis, it looks like he was fed up. Looks like he was upset that Isaac Taylor took the pinfall loss in that match. We're going to have to see what develops from that, but we are coming back live right now. We have that big announcement from BCW World Champion Dirty Don. He is in the ring. He is looking for a microphone. We are told he has a big announcement, so let's find out what the champ has to say. What is this big announcement from Dirty Don? Let's find out and see what he has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, your BCW World Champion has a very important announcement to make. But before that, I would like to congratulate Benson Hicks on becoming the #1 contender. I am really looking forward to our match. Unfortunately, I don't think Benson will be in any condition to compete, as I am issuing a $1 million bounty to anyone who can take out Benson Hicks and put him on the shelf. Good luck, Benson, and to everyone else, let the games begin.
Well, what an announcement right there. Dirty Don has put out a hit on Benson Hicks. Dirty Don does not want to face Benson Hicks. He does not want to defend his title against him, and it is evident from this bounty. Is this even legal? Is this even possible? Well, here we go. Grizzly Mac versus Fancy Dan here tonight in our second match, and lots of developments there. Dirty Don putting the bounty on Benson Hicks. Fancy Dan stepping up to the plate, helping his friend, taking on Grizzly Mac here tonight, and that is not to be understated. Grizzly Mac is an absolute killing machine, and Fancy Dan is coming in here, taking the proverbial bullet for Benson Hicks. We're going to see how it plays out all here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Grizzly Mac.
And here we go, Grizzly Mac making his way to the ring. He wants Benson Hicks, and now especially with this bounty that Dirty Don has put out there, Grizzly Mac can do a two birds with one stone. He can get a rematch against Benson Hicks, and he can cash in on that $1 million. And Grizzly Mac, he is wild, he is savage. I don't think he really cares about the $1 million. He wants Benson Hicks. It was Benson who tapped out Grizzly Mac at the Random Draw 2 pay-per-view to become the #1 contender for the world title. But Grizzly Mac, he feels that in a one-on-one contest he can beat Benson, but he's got to get through Fancy Dan here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fancy Dan.
And here we go, the glitz, the glamour, the pageantry, the costuming. This is Fancy Dan. And Fancy Dan, he has been helping out Benson the last few months. He has partnered with him. He has vowed to help him. They are friends here in BCW. And you've got to have, you got to be real good friends in order to take on Grizzly Mac for someone. And Fancy Dan doing the smart thing, coming out the gate hot, hits Grizzly Mac with a few shots. And in my estimation, that is exactly what you got to do when you are facing someone like a Grizzly Mac who is so strong, so wild, so aggressive in the ring. You got to come out hot. You got to get a huge lead on a Grizzly Mac, because when Grizzly Mac starts rolling down that track, he is like a freight train. You cannot stop him. And look at that right there. Grizzly Mac counters and then hits a huge boot to the face, but Fancy Dan, he knows he's got to get up. He's got to shrug off that pain, and he hits him with a clothesline, cuts him off. Grizzly Mac, huge shot to the stomach. Grizzly Mac, we're about 30 seconds into this match, and he can already feel like he has enough ahead to do a pose. But that was a beautiful back elbow by Fancy Dan. And now this devolves to the outside, and what's he got here? Spins him up and goes and hits him with the powerbomb. Goes for a suplex into a powerbomb. That is one of the maneuvers of Fancy Dan right there. Fancy Dan, as the name would suggest, he's got a lot of sizzle on that steak, but when it comes down to it, he's got a lot of meat on the bone as well when it comes to his moves. And he is going to have to use everything in his toolbox to take out a Grizzly Mac. And Grizzly Mac, I say it every time he's in the ring, but look at that physique. It looks like he is carved out of granite. And when you have someone that strong, that muscular, combined with how wild and aggressive he is, it is a combination that has brought Grizzly Mac to the top of the singles division. That is why Grizzly Mac was in that main event at Random Draw 2 to determine the #1 contender for the BCW World Championship, because he is undefeated in one-on-one competition. He has never been pinned. He has only been made to submit once, but that was in the three-way contest. So when it comes to one-on-one, Grizzly Mac is undefeated, and that is why it is a tall task for Fancy Dan. Oh, look at this right here. This is the wild aggressiveness I was talking about. Just trying to bite off the nose of Fancy Dan. Fancy Dan, here he goes for that swinging DDT, getting all that extra little bit of momentum on it. And a 2 count there. I think Grizzly Mac's head is probably the most durable point on his body. So, oh, and Grizzly Mac low bridging him right there. I think Fancy Dan thought he was going to take him out and over the top rope. And Grizzly Mac opts to throw him back in the ring. Thought Grizzly Mac might want to go on the outside a bit, use some of those weapons. And now Fancy Dan, the smart maneuver there from Fancy Dan. It's a bit surprising seeing Grizzly Mac try and take it back in the ring, but I think that is a very smart maneuver from Fancy Dan. Now playing a little cat and mouse, a little rope-a-dope on the inside-outside. But They are both back in the ring, and Fancy Dan, it's a beautiful maneuver there. Lots of spin, lots of torque. But Grizzly Mac, he cannot stay down. You have to really, really be on a Grizzly Mac. He is not like most competitors, which is why he is a top-ranked wrestler here in BCW. And Fancy Dan, as we've seen in that backstage. Oh, and look at that spear. That turned him inside out. That crushed his midsection, and Fancy Dan unable to kick out, but the referee fortunately was able to see over top of both competitors as Fancy Dan had his hand on the rope, and this is the claw maneuver. This has been putting people away left and right, and the only thing that saved Fancy Dan again was the ropes. I think Fancy Dan is done, other than the ropes and another big spear. Ripping and shredding those ribs. 2. And Fancy Dan kicks out again. As I mentioned, Fancy Dan is friends with Benson Hicks. He is trying to help him out any which way he can. But facing Grizzly Mac is a tall task, and he hits him there with his finisher, the Dandy. 1, 2. Grizzly Mac kicks out. I think hitting the Dandy, his finisher, was the best chance Fancy Dan has had this whole match. And now what's he got here? Wants him to get up for a big maneuver and a big chop from the top. But Grizzly Mac right back up. Grizzly Mac does not stay down. I don't know if he is impervious to pain or he just blocks it out and moves forward. But Grizzly Mac, that is why he is so hard to pin, because he does not stay on the mat for longer than 2 seconds, even when you're not even going for a cover. And what's he got here? A jumping pile driver near the edge of the ring. Fancy Dan's head, neck, and back have got to be screaming. The big jumping headbutt there. And Grizzly Mac just posing it down, asserting his dominance. And again, using the hardest part of his body, his head. Oh no, and is he going for it again? Another pile driver. And Fancy Dan is getting worn out. We are in injury territory here. If he keeps hitting those ones, it's going to be in concussion protocol here. The ref might have to stop this one. Goes for the cover after that knee to the back. And got him. Winner via pinfall, Grizzly Mac. Grizzly Mac just absolutely obliterating the midsection of Fancy Dan. And Fancy Dan is hurt. I think that splash off the top was the final straw for Fancy Dan. He couldn't take any more. He could have a rib out. He could have broken ribs. He could have that cartilage damage. He could have... And Grizzly Mac here, he's not done yet. No one challenges Grizzly Mac. That pissed him off. I think that's why he came out ultra aggressive. And just slamming him into the steps. Alright, and here we are, match 3 here tonight. Ultimo Nightmare versus Jason Shields. The challenge was thrown out last week by Xander. He wanted one of the Game Changers to face Ultimo Nightmare to prove that they are up to snuff, that they can compete for the World Tag Team titles. The Game Changers have chosen Jason Shields to represent them. Can he get it done here tonight? Let's find out.
Standing 6 feet 7 inches tall and weighing 330 pounds, he is one half of the BCW World Tag Team Champions, representing the Exiled. He is Ultimo Nightmare.
And here he is, one half of the BCW World Tag Team Champions, Ultimo Nightmare. He is like a walking horror movie villain, and there is definitely a chill that comes in the air. It is a change in ambiance when he makes his way to the ring. 6'7", over 300 pounds. He is so muscular, he is so strong. He is the anchor of the Exiled, and he is out here tonight to take out Jason Shields. It was Xander who threw out the challenge. He did not care which one of the Game Changers faced Ultimo Nightmare, and you can't blame him because Ultimo Nightmare is absolutely devastating. He's never been pinned. He's never been made to submit. He is undefeated in singles and tag team competition. He is a walking weapon. Can Jason Shields get it done? Here tonight, we're going to find out shortly. Oh, and here we go. Jason Shields not wasting any time, rushing the ring, trying to pound Ultimo Nightmare. Ultimo Nightmare reverses and just raining down those shots. And Jason Shields, he was looking to come out here hot, but that was not the starting that he wanted to this match. And the bell is rung. The match is underway. Jason Shields with a running flying forearm to the head of Ultimo Nightmare. And he's got him now with a big neck breaker there, Jason Shields. As evidenced by him running to the ring, he wants Ultimo Nightmare. He wants to get his hands on the Exiled. Ever since the Urban Warfare pay-per-view where the Game Changers lost the BCW World Tag Team titles, they have wanted to get their hands on the Exiled. They want revenge. And it was at our last pay-per-view, the Random Draw 2 event, that the Game Changers were able to defeat Kensho and Tafik and become the new #1 contenders. They have earned their chance for a rematch, but it is be careful what you wish for because Ultimo Nightmare is just wearing out Jason Shields now. Right here on the outside, hitting some big moves on those thin pads. Big gut wrench suplex there and the splash, 300 pounds crashing down. Changers have earned their rematch for the titles. They want it so bad, but I think it's a mistake coming out here and facing them in a one-on-one match. And he's getting a tour of the islands right here, just slamming him down to the mat. And a kick out at one. Jason Shields will not be denied. But we have seen it multiple times before when a tag team comes in and they have a tag team title opportunity against the Exiled. They come out, they face Ultimo Nightmare, and they go into those tag team matches injured. And I think that is the game plan here for Ultimo Nightmare as given to him by Xander. So Jason Shields, he's got to come out here fast. He's got to come out and do something big. He has that huge super kick maneuver that he has put people away with in the past, and he's got to come out and do something to really cause some damage to Ultimo Nightmare because Ultimo Nightmare, he is just doing moves like this, just picks him up and beals him right in the corner, head hitting the ropes. And that bottom turnbuckle, wow. And Ultimo Nightmare, he's going to goozle him there. Ultimo Nightmare, so big, so strong, seemingly impervious to pain. I don't know if he doesn't feel pain or he just does not care that he's feeling it, but it seems like he is impervious. There is very, very few times that anyone has had the upper hand on Ultimo Nightmare here in BCW. As I mentioned, Ultimo Nightmare undefeated in singles, undefeated in tags. He is one half of the BCW World Tag Team Champions. Is there anything that can stop Ultimo Nightmare? And so far, Jason Shields has not had an answer to that question. Look at these haymakers. And a big, huge headbutt, and that just turned Jason Shields in and out. He needs the help of the corner and the ropes just to get back up to a vertical base, and Ultimo Nightmare just slams him down and keeps him down by grinding that foot right into the jaw. Goes for the cover there, checking his progress, and still a 1 count. You got to give it to the resiliency of a Jason Shields, but when you're fighting a man this big, this strong, and you're not coming up with an answer for this offense, it might just be a matter of time. We saw Isaac Taylor in our opening tag team contest, and Isaac Taylor was still wrapped up. He still had some bandages and bruises from when he faced Ultimo Nightmare and the Exiled. Not only did they put Isaac Taylor through a table, but they put him through a flaming table at the last pay-per-view. The Exiled are not concerned about safety. They are not concerned about the well-being of their opponents. And as evidenced right here for going for that Nightmare Fuel, this is his finisher, and he just slams him to the mat. This could be easily it. Count to 100. Jason Shields is... Oh, and Jason Shields kicks out. That maneuver has put down everyone in its path, but Jason Shields showing that resiliency as I talked about earlier. Jason Shields, he's got a lot of heart, he's got a lot of gumption, he's got a lot of resiliency, but you got to have offense. And I realize that's easier said than done, but the game plan for Jason Shields has got to be to do some damage to Ultimo Nightmare, because if Ultimo Nightmare is just attacking you like a freight train, just stomping on that leg, I think Ultimo Nightmare is targeting the leg, and it's a smart maneuver. Jason Shields has that super kick. What's he going for here? And a big fall-away slam right on the ground, affecting that back. And opts to throw him in the ring. You do not want to get counted out in a match like this. But Jason Shields, he is motionless ever since being thrown into the ring. This could be it. Jason Shields has got to do something to stop the roaring freight train that is Ultimo Nightmare. Oh, and he's got him here. Goozled. Choke slam in the center of the ring. Slamming that back down to the mat. 2. Wow, and Ultimo Nightmare gets him off that choke slam. I won't call that a squash match, but that was damn near it. Ultimo Nightmare winner by pinfall. And Jason Shields just did not have an answer. I think coming out hot and fast was a mistake, because Ultimo Nightmare took advantage, and it was... Oh, and Jason Shields here.
Here is your winner via pinfall, Ultimo Nightmare.
He was picked up and he was chokeslammed right into the center of the ring, landing on the back, landing on those vertebrae. Whatever it is, mission accomplished for Ultimo Nightmare. Jason Shields cannot leave on his own accord. He is getting carted out, but Ultimo Nightmare's not done, just hitting these shots right to the face. He is already worn out. We got to get security. We got to get the referees to come out here. We got to stop this. Ultimo Nightmare has already won. He's already injured Jason Shields. We got to get control. We got to take a break, and we'll be right back. Well, there we have it, some interesting developments from the Brotherhood. But up next, we have the main event, Benson Hicks versus Amir Man.
The following contest is your main event of the evening and will be a singles match.
And here we go, tonight's main event. Mr. GM made this match earlier tonight. It was originally going to be Grizzly Mac versus Benson Hicks. Fancy Dan swooped in. Amir went to Mr. GM to complain, and now it is Amir and Benson. The bounty is in effect. Can Amir cash in on that $1 million and live up to his nickname, Big Money? We're going to find out in the main event right now.
He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed 220 pounds. He is the redneck, Benson Hicks.
And here he is, the number one contender, and I thought he already had a big target on his back, but now with this $1 million bounty, the target is even in. Here we go, Amir Man, rushing to the ring and throwing Benson in the steps. just obliterating that shoulder. And Amir, man, he is not playing around tonight. He wants to beat Benson Hicks. He wants that $1 million bounty, and that is why his nickname is Big Money. As I was saying during Benson Hicks' intro before, he was blindsided here by Amir, man. Now they're fighting on the outside. Benson Hicks, he is the #1 contender. He already has a huge target on his back as far as Dirty Don is concerned. And as we've seen at the opening, and a big shot there from Benson, as we've seen at the opening promo from Dirty Don, there is a $1 million bounty to anyone that can take out Benson Hicks. And Amir, man, just scoop slamming Benson right there, but trapping that arm, crushing that elbow. You could easily pop out a shoulder. Anything Amir can do to injure Benson Hicks and prevent him from challenging for the BCW World Heavyweight Championship. And the bell has rung. The match is underway. Benson slowing this one down, really grinding the head of Amir. Hopefully there's not too much of an injury to Benson from that shoulder just getting rammed into those steel steps. That could easily pop something out, and I think the edict here for Amir, man, is come in here, try and injure Benson Hicks. If he can't do it, Benson has Grizzly Mac next week. But when you're in that ring, you could do one move. It could be as simple as that scoop slam that Amir did before, or it could be something like that elbow. Benson Hicks trying to put Amir away. 1, 2. And Amir kicks out. It could be a simple maneuver where you just hit your opponent in that exact perfect way, and it could pop a shoulder, it could pop a rib, you could dislocate something in your knee. Anything could happen in the ring, and Amir, man, getting a bit of a head of steam here. Amir, man, is firing up. Ever since they got in the ring, though, it's been all Benson Hicks. And you'd expect nothing less from Benson Hicks. He only has 1 singles loss on his record, and he is on a huge win streak. Oh, what a big shot there. That could be a knockout shot from Benson. He is that Golden Gloves boxer. And it looks like he is going to take out Amir here, setting him up. Amir has fallen to his back. Benson loading it up from the other side of the ring. The pageantry here from that worm, and the red, white, and bruised elbow right to the sternum. Crushing the solar plexus, forcing the wind out of the lungs too. And Amir kicks out, but Amir's got to, and smartly rolls to the outside. Amir has got to do something to make Benson think. It's just like in our last match, but Benson with the big suicide dive. Suicide dive to the outside, and Amir is getting no rest. He is getting no chance to recover. Benson is just smothering him. But it's much like in our last match where Amir has got to do something to Benson to get him to stop. To get this runaway freight train known as Benson to come off the tracks. Amir's got to hit a big maneuver. He's got to do something. Because this has been all Benson Hicks. And Benson now to the top. Is he going to go for another elbow like he did earlier? Oh. He wants Amir to get up. What's he got planned? Oh, and a big elbow. It's still an elbow drop. An elbow drop, but from a standing position instead of a supine position. Wow. And Benson, he does have those elbow pads on, but when you come off the top rope with an elbow right to the head, getting all that torque and momentum. Now Benson turning Amir inside out. Oh, and could this be the end? And Benson put a little extra mustard on that one. He really rushed to the corner for that splash, and now he's setting it up again. I think if he hits this, it might be over. Some people have kicked out of one of these, but I don't think anyone's kicked out of 2. Crushing the sternum. 1, 2. Got him. Benson Hicks comes out victorious in this impromptu main event here tonight. Big win for Benson. He didn't have much time to prepare for this one, but here we go. Dirty Don and Hard Limit, they are coming out here playing the mind games on Benson. Benson knows that anywhere, at any point, he could be attacked and jumped, and I think Dirty Don is playing the mind games here. Putting Benson Hicks on notice, closing out this episode and leaving Benson till next week with the thought in his mind that that bounty could be cashed in at any point. And here we go. We kicked off tonight with the Brotherhood and Kensho and Tafik. The Brotherhood are now on a 3-match loss streak. And we saw that phone call between Amir and Isaac Taylor. What's going to happen with the Brotherhood next week? Then we had Amir Mack crushing Fancy Dan. Grizzly Mack picks up another win and goes into next week to face Benson Hicks. Then it was Ultimo Nightmare absolutely destroying Jason Shields. Potential injury there. We'll find out more about that next week. And then as we just seen in the main event, Amir, big money man, he came out on the losing end to Benson Hicks. Benson is now 9-1 for his singles record, and that one loss, it came way back in the day when BCW first started. So he is on a huge roll, but now with this bounty that Dirty Don has added, I don't know, that's a lot for Benson to handle. We're going to find out what happens with the bounty next week.
On the next episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling,
we will get an injury update on Jason Shields. The $1 million bounty continues for Benson Hicks. And we have the BCW World Champion in action. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.